What's going on, guys? Tanmay here for Simple Snippets, and this is a very special video because we have our very first guest, Mr. Gaurav Prabhu, in the house.
Hello everyone.
And he's going to be talking about front-end mobile and web application development because that's his domain expertise. And I had put a post on our YouTube community timeline wherein I had asked you guys some questions to ask if you want to ask him. And a lot of you guys have put up a lot of questions in the community timeline which I'm going to be asking Gaurav. But before we actually start off, let's actually have a little bit of introduction from your side, Gaurav, so that our audience gets to know you.
Okay. Hello everyone, I'm Gaurav. I work as a front-end developer in media.net. I've been working as a front-end developer for past 5 years now. And I have worked on various frameworks like Angular, React, and basics definitely as like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery. And I'm here definitely to solve all your queries. And with thanks to my good friend and his channel, Simple Snippets.
So yeah, that's amazing, Gaurav. Really, this is going to be very helpful for all of us. So we'll start off with our questions. Okay. Before I take your questions on, I have a few of mine.
Okay.
So my first question would be, what exactly is front-end development? Let's get this very basic cleared out so that we can move on to the other questions. But I'm pretty sure even you guys must be having slight doubt about this, especially if you're a beginner. So what, according to you, is front-end development?
So basically front-end development is like developing all those things that you can see whenever you visit a web page. So basically, for example, if I'm visiting a web page, the first thing that I see is like what the interface is, how it looks. So developing all those things using like web technologies, all this thing like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all these things, like that is what is basically called as front-end development. So most of the people, they ask me like, why, like, front-end development, what exactly? It's the same question basically. And they always get confused with like, going with the designing part and the development part.
Correct.
So that development is basically like using all this like web technologies, that's it. And designing is something that is different. Like basically you create a layout and everything. And that process includes wireframing and all these things.
Right.
So that is basically all these things can combinedly they include as in the front end development.
Right. So when you're talking about designing part, then there is no real writing of code, right? You're talking about mockups and maybe Photoshop mockups,
creating
designs,
layouts
creative
and
ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that goes to a very creative side of front end development. Okay. So the second question that I have, so this is again my question, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys also might have heard this term and this question. What is the difference between user interface and user experience? So this is a very important question that I feel you as a front-end developer can explain much better way. So
yes, so basically front-end development, it includes like all the thing that whatever we do is like all about UI and UX. So what is UI? Like UI is basically whatever you see on the screen. That is what is your user interface, whatever you interact with, whatever you see, basically like each and everything, like whatever, the slider, the buttons and everything that you see on the web page is basically all the, like everything is together termed as user interface.
Correct.
So, and the coming part to the UX part. So UX is basically what experience the user has on your web page. Right. For example, if he's clicking on the navigation button or anything, like what happens after that how smooth his experience while interacting with the user interface is, that entire experience is called as user experience.
Okay.
Right.
So user interface would be something that which we can see, which we can interact with, but the experience is what we feel, how easy it is to use.
Right. For how smooth for how smooth or how quickly the data is coming onto your interface, all these things. How basically there has to be, for example, I'll say that if you are visiting a web page, so if you click on something that you want to, that fetches you some data,
right?
And if that thing takes about 10 minutes, do you think are you going to wait there that long? For example, if I've searched for a mobile phone, do you think you're going to wait for that long to get the result, right? So that's how each and everything is termed as user experience. How quickly the data is, like you're getting the data, how smooth your experience is, everything, interactions and everything.
Yeah. So user interface essentially is something which is tangible, which you can see, which you can interact with.
Yes, absolutely.
Then user experience is what you feel. It's not really something which you can see. Something which you feel by using a front-end user interface.
Yes,
right?
Exactly, absolutely.
Okay. So these were two of my important questions which I felt that I should ask, and I'm pretty sure some of you might have these questions. Now let's take on some subscriber questions and user questions which you guys have asked in the community post. So the very first question is by Suraj Biswas. He's saying, hi, I'm a beginner at this field, so please bear with me. What is the difference between backend and frontend? How do they go together in a development process? Do they go hand in hand or are they done separately? So a lot of questions, Suraj Biswas. Let's see what Gaurav has to say.
Hi Suraj. This question is asked by a lot of people, and they always seem to be pretty confused between what is front end and what is back end. So in my terms, what I feel is basically whatever, like I said before, whatever you see on the website, as soon as you hit the URL, that is what you see is basically all that is included in front end development.
Right.
So what comes in back end development then? So what I feel is basically whenever you go and you click on some button that is going to fetch you data. That data, whatever you get, that from wherever the data is generated,
the action that the button has to do.
Exactly. Right. So that thing that is included in backend. These are in the simple terms. In another terms, backend is mostly the interaction between database and the server. Whatever the data from where you are getting any data or anything, that is basically the backend thing. Front end is only the thing that is visible on your interface. That's it.
Right.
Simple as that.
For example, if you're booking a ticket, airline ticket, and you just hit on the book now.
So some query is running on the backend. Yeah. Right. So query is fired and then it processes, the data is processed, and if it the data is available,
then you get a response.
Exactly.
Response, right. So all the things that happens behind the scenes is where backend comes into picture, and what you see on the screen is the front end side.
Yeah.
Right. And the question was, how do they go together in a development process, and do they go hand in hand or are they done separately?
So the backend thing, backend and front end can be done simultaneously, provided that there are two different teams working on it. Only thing where they go hand in hand is basically they give you some form of API output, whatever the data is given in a form of output. That can be REST APIs in some form of API basically.
Okay, and then there's a concept of full stack development wherein if you are a full stack developer, you hand everything, you do the entire process starting from the designing then till
basically it is the best of both worlds, combining your front end and back end skills. That's it. That's what is full stack development.
Right. So in that case, if you are going for a full stack development oriented scenario, then you also have to be good at designing and development as well as the backend handling and the server and the logic building basically.
Yes, I would cut you out a bit, saying that designing can be a different perspective, different part, different role altogether.
Right.
Development has nothing to do majorly with designing. Designing can be done by another person who is a designer.
Who's into creatives and artwork.
Yes, exactly. He can do if you have good designing skills and good creative knowledge about it, then you can definitely include that thing in your development.
Right. Okay. So next question, I hope we've answered your question, Suraj. So the next question is by Alex NG. Alex asked that, thank you for holding the interview for us. I'd much like to know what is his biggest challenge throughout his coding career and how did he overcome it?
Oh, that's a very good question, Alex. I would think, first of all, my career is still going on.
Right.
So the thing is that it's every day basically that you come upon some of the obstacles in your coding. It's not you have just one problem in your career. It can come multiple times in a day. It can come multiple times every day. Anything. So the thing is that every day I face some of the other difficulties.
Right.
At times they are very small. At times it becomes very big. I have to keep trying on different solutions until I try, completely solve the problems.
Right.
Yeah. So the
every
coding
day is a challenge. Basically.
Every day is a challenge. Yeah.
Correct.
There's no one particular challenge like that. Yeah.
So moving on, we have Anjay Dange. Some new web trends for website development.
So basically websites right now, what you can see, web trends as you say, these include PWAs, progressive web apps. I'm not sure if you have heard of it, but you should definitely check them out. Right. Most of the new frameworks and everything, they are mainly developed, JavaScript frameworks and all this, they are mainly developed to support and to build progressive web apps.
Okay.
So you should definitely check that out. That's one thing. Second thing is responsive websites. Nowadays people spend a lot of time on their mobile phones instead of using laptops or anything.
Right.
So whatever they see has to be, whatever you develop has to be responsive at all costs.
In fact, I do have a series on Bootstrap development.
You should definitely check that out.
Yeah. That would be really helpful if you're a beginner. If you're a new subscriber on this channel, do check that out. I have a complete tutorial on mobile application development, front-end mobile application development using Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is a framework which helps us with mobile development and responsive web development.
You can put that link in the description.
Absolutely, I can do that.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then there are many JS frameworks, like literally there are new JS frameworks coming
out every day.
So definitely check out the JS frameworks.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on, we have Rabbit. Okay, what name? Sir, which framework is important in web development career for 2019? Okay.
Okay. So again, this is also one of the most most frequently asked questions. Yeah, right. I have been asked with this. So what I would suggest initially, I'm considering all of you as some of you are beginners, some of you would be advanced. Yeah. So I would answer on behalf of everyone. So first of all, if you are a fresher, I would say that you should definitely learn the fundamentals first.
Right.
Most of the people, what they do is they jump on to see say the React or Angular. So these are popular libraries of frameworks right now in the industry. So they hear that they have been in demand and they can fetch you a good amount of salary. So that is definitely what I would not suggest you to jump if you don't know the basics.
Correct.
Always it is very important that you should know what the fundamentals are, how the framework works. You would know that this function will do something in that particular framework. But why is it happening? What is the underlying thing?
Right.
Or how the basic JavaScript functions are.
Correct.
So I have also taken few of the interviews. I have seen people knowing higher advanced frameworks, but when I ask them basic questions, they are completely blank
with it. Okay.
Yeah, they don't know how it is happening.
Right.
Simple as that.
So get your fundamentals clear.
Absolutely.
And but then other than that, apart from that, if that is clear,
that is first, that is the step. If the user is completely thorough with the fundamentals. The second is definitely React is one of the libraries, UI libraries. I would not say it is a framework, it is a UI library.
Okay.
So that is very much in demand with startups and all these things. Once you have done with React, you can definitely use Redux as a step ahead.
Okay.
To combine with React. That is one thing. Another popular framework, as we all know, is Angular.
Correct. Yes.
So Angular is used by most of the big industries and big companies, as they are progressing right now to the latest technologies.
Right.
React would be mostly used by the startups and all these things.
Correct.
So if you're planning to go into some startups or anything, you should be thorough with React.
Okay.
And also on the backend side, if you're planning on JavaScript frameworks, you can definitely check out Node.js. If frameworks like Express or Happy, you can check any of them.
Right. Yeah. I would definitely put out the links in the video descriptions for further reference.
Yeah.
So moving on, we have Anshul Khanna. Anshul Khanna is asking front end के लिए क्या एक sketch artist होना जरूरी है? He's asking whether if you need to be a good sketch artist or not. Yeah. And painting and designs by hand बनाने जरूरी है क्या? Do you need to be good at painting and designs?
Oh no. Hi Anshul. First of all, I would like to clear that up. As I said, if you want to become a designer, so designer is basically who creates layouts and user interfaces, mockups and everything, right?
Correct.
So for that, you need to have a good amount of creative knowledge. First of all, hand painting and sketching. And right. Exactly. You should have good amount of knowledge for color, what the color is, color combinations and all these things. Basically, I would not say that you need to know sketchings or be good at that or hand drawings. It's up to you. I mean, if you have that quality with you, it is definitely an added point. It's not like that is essential for it.
Okay.
What you can do if you want to become a good designer is, in case you want to become a good designer, definitely, that you can check out there's a site called dribble.com. Okay. You can definitely go there and you can check all the various trending UI and all the designs people layouts and everything that people create right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so that what you can do.
Right. There are many other Photoshop and wireframing tutorials also on YouTube which you can definitely go with. But that is very specific to designing, right?
Yes, that is designing.
So according to Gaurav, what he's saying is that you don't need to specifically be good at painting or sketching. Yeah. So that becomes very specific to designing.
Yes, that is a part of designing and not development. Okay. If you're looking to go into front-end development, definitely if you have these skills, that is also going to be an added benefit. But if you're planning to go into proper development, then I would suggest like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. These are the basic
Correct.
three
So when it
things,
comes to only front-end development, what would happen is some designer would give you a mock-up, and then you just have to convert that mock-up into a usable front-end UI with these technologies.
Yes,
okay.
right.
Correct.
So that's how it works. So like basically the process is like a designer will design something, create a layout, and you have to develop that layout into a like proper web page, and make it responsive and everything properly.
Right. So when you're talking about websites, it's also applicable to softwares and mobile apps. Okay?
Yes, absolutely.
So the UI part, designing ultimately applies to those things also.
Basically, the process is divided into three things. Designing, you can say designing includes wireframing as well. Then you have the front end thing, and then there's a back end thing. So that's how entire website or whatever progressive web apps or any app can go up.
Okay. So moving on, we have Pramod Barnwal. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the names and surnames wrong, but Pramod is asking, sir, how can I start a career in the field of front end? I mean, which technology should we learn also, and tell me the effective way of learning these technologies. Okay, so this I suppose is becoming a little repetitive, but then go ahead, Gaurav.
What is his name?
Pramod. His name is Pramod.
Hi Pramod. Like I've said before, first completely focus on the fundamentals.
Right.
Basic things for the front end development are HTML, CSS, JavaScript. The more you get better at it, the more you are going to the more you're likely to go on to advanced things. Simple as that. I would suggest you to go to web fundamentals, go to developers.google.com and search for web fundamentals.
Right.
So you can definitely go there and check out you can read out everything, what happens. Also, the way I have learned, you are asking me what should I do to learn front end. What I have done is basically I used to go to any websites. Like remember when we were creating the project, I used to go and check out any other website. What I used to do, I used to open the Chrome developer tools. I used to inspect everything.
You used to check out the code and the front end side.
So you can see the styles and everything over there, CSS and HTML, what the structure is. So you get a fair idea how the structure they have done, like what the website is basically built on. So again, also one more thing, you can change the values in the CSS things from the developer tool, and you can check what is happening, what affects.
It happens in the real time. The changes can be reflected.
Yes.
So this is a very pro tip. There is a developer tool in most of the browsers. Most of the modern
not only in Chrome. You can check in any of the browsers.
So where you can see the front end code, at least what is happening, how is it structured, what are the color schemes, and you can also play around. Then you can change it, and the real time changes would be reflected.
So you can learn. That is also one part of learning to try and modify something that is already done. And you can replicate it, so you get better at it. And you can change and check what is changing and what repercussions it has on other things.
Things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so Pramod, just focus on basics, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You'll find tons of tutorials for free. You don't need to join any classes and all.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you can move ahead.
There's also codelabs.google.com. You can check that out also. You can go on to that, and they have all different kinds of exercises or different type for each and every language basically.
Right.
So you can check out those, and there are a few other websites I will list it down.
We'll put them in the video description.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. So moving on, we have Chaitanya Panchal. He's saying, hello, I'm working as an intern for web development using React.js. Now my question is, what is the market value of React.js compared to other JavaScript frameworks? So comparison.
So basically React is in quite a demand right now. I mean, because the React community is definitely bigger than the rest of the frameworks. And it is developed by Facebook. So definitely it has good amount of backing, developer backing.
Right.
So you can find a lot of
libraries and code snippets, and
you can find different types of libraries that you can combine with React. Also, React is quite flexible, so you can combine it with other
integrate
different on the back end stuff.
Okay.
So that is one thing. Also, the React market value, if you're saying that, definitely, as I said, a lot of startups use React.
Okay.
So it is quite in demand. I wouldn't know. It is actually very wrong for me to say anything regarding the market value, but all I can say is it is in demand. Yeah.
So if you had to stack up a few of the top JS frameworks or technologies based on JavaScript, what would they be?
So I would say on the front end, React is quite an essential right now.
Okay.
Also, Angular, it is there. Angular framework, it is good to know the Angular thing. Also, added benefit is of Angular is like you can learn TypeScript.
Okay.
TypeScript is definitely going to be the next, like ES6 and everything. TypeScript is going to be there.
The new standard that has come.
Yeah, definitely. So TypeScript is going to help you. That is one, like two of the things are like right now the biggest.
Okay.
Later on, Vue.js, there are a lot of other things. It depends on what your interest is.
Right.
Simple.
Okay.
I hope I have answered your question.
Right. Okay, so let's move ahead. Okay, so moving ahead, we have Vaibhav Shinde. He's saying how to become UI UX designer. Which tools need to learn? Which tools do we need to learn? Figma, Adobe XD, and which technologies need to learn like HTML, CSS, jQuery, JS, or any other. So he's specifically asking for designer, UI UX designer, and then he's asking what should he do, like what technology should he learn.
Designing perspective, I would suggest that you should learn Sketch. Sketch is also, but it is only available on Mac, so it is not available on Windows. So for Windows, you can definitely start your skills on Photoshop, Illustrator. Adobe XD is one of the softwares that you can use definitely, but that is somewhere on the advanced level.
Okay.
But definitely it can help you if you want to create good amount of UI UX.
Right.
Also, I think it is free, so you can definitely go ahead. Whereas Sketch is paid version, like Sketch, there is no free version for Sketch. So I would suggest you to go with Photoshop, Illustrator, and Adobe products.
One question which I would want to add over here is when you're beginning into any kind of domain, we need to focus on multiple technologies or software and tools. For example, if you're talking about designing over here, like if I take on try to do Photoshop and Illustrator as well as Corel or some other softwares side by side simultaneously, doesn't it become a little cluttered or confusing, or should I focus one at a time? What should be the approach?
So what I would think is that if you're using one, for example, say Photoshop, definitely that skill is going to help you somewhere else.
Okay.
So if you're planning to, so there are limitations to each other. If you want to do something with the vectors, like create logos or definitely that you can do it with Illustrator.
Right.
Whereas on the Sketch is basically most of the UI UX designers, they use Sketch to develop the user interface because that is the interface is very intuitive. Also, there are a lot of tools that are available that you can easily use to create multiple user interfaces. So that's one thing. And definitely, if you are starting with Photoshop or something else, that skill is definitely going to help you if you're planning to switch to Sketch or any other app. And also one more thing, doesn't matter what software you use, if you're planning to go for designing, definitely you should have that creative mindset and all the designing layout. You should have the great understanding of how responsive designs work, how color combinations, that is one thing, but also how responsive. Right now, if you're talking about the responsive is huge. So definitely you should also know how to adapt that desktop designs into a mobile
version. Okay, right. Okay, so I hope we've answered that. Last question is by Aditya. There are a few more questions, but then the last user is Aditya. Is saying which is in demand, front end or back end? Also asked by so this was also asked by Anshul Khanna, and whose job is more difficult? So I would like to put in a little bit of input over here from my end. I think these are two very separate things, and so you cannot really measure the demand. You need a front end. In most cases, you need a front end. And if you want to make it dynamic, if you want something to happen, if you want some solution, so you also need a back end, right? You need a back end logic.
Yes, absolutely.
When it comes to demand, I suppose it goes hand in hand.
Yes, both are in demand. You can't separate out the demand for front end or the back end. It is same for both.
Right. You need.
So wherever there's a back end, somewhere you would need a front end.
Right.
Somewhere
there is
a front end
between the two. So both go hand in hand.
Yes. Unless they are static pages, definitely. In that case, something if front end is it's enough. You don't need a back end for that.
Right. So when it comes to just static stuff, when you're making a basic portfolio, which is just going to list down the information of a particular business, in that case, you don't need anything happening in the back end.
Right.
You don't need a logic. Something like that. So you just need the presentation, especially.
Yes.
Right, so that's
when it comes to complex apps or something which involves fetching API or something, there you would require a backend. Also, definitely.
Right. So talking about the demand, I suppose both go hand in hand. Maybe I suppose the complexity level in terms of coding in the backend is little higher, but then
Yes.
on the front end you need a creative mind. So different skills are required, right?
Right. Skills are different, but also I would not say that the skills required for the front end are less right now.
Okay.
Because in today's time, like as you have seen, like a lot of JavaScript frameworks that are evolving right now.
Correct.
So the pressure on the front end is actually quite a lot. I'm not comparing with the backend. Backend definitely has that amount of pressure already, because even on the backend there are a lot of languages coming up. Yeah, right. So on the front end thing, as you can see, the work of the front end developer right now in today's industry is not just plain creating the web pages or anything. Right now it is not limited to that. The competition is very high.
Okay.
So somewhere right now, all the things that involves, fetching the API, getting the data and presenting it in a proper way, all these things are also included in the front end thing. Right. So if you're thinking that front end is only about creating static pages, those days are gone. Yeah, those days are gone definitely.
Okay.
Also, you need to make rich interactive websites right now if you're looking, because like the more interactive it is, also it is like the more the load time and everything, all these performances are like taken into consideration while. So the work of the front end developer is actually quite a lot right now.
Okay. So Aditya, there is no straightforward answer to which is in more demand. Both go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
And so these were user questions. These were questions asked by subscribers. A few of them which I have, which would be like I would like to ask is college degree necessary when it comes to front end field? So a lot of times nowadays there is a hype going on that you do not need college degree, you just need those skills. So focusing it on front end mobile development or app development or anything, web development. So what is your take on it?
I would see, first of all, let's be honest, it is not needed in a way, but also I wouldn't suggest that, to be that negative, saying that it is not required. What's the point?
Okay.
Somewhere when in the industry, it is essential when it comes to your selecting a student, selecting a candidate
companies
for the job.
Those criteria.
They still have those criteria, yes.
Correct.
So if you're planning to, just not take a degree and have a good amount of front end knowledge, but no work experience, definitely that criteria is done on the basis of a degree. So you need a proper degree in that case. Yeah.
Right.
Even if it's a 3-year bachelor's degree like BSc IT or anything, that is still better. You should do it. Even I have done my BSc IT.
Right.
So I have not done masters, but I have done BSc IT. So at least that simple, it is going to definitely help you somewhere. Simple degree, yeah.
So I and Gaurav basically did bachelor's together, but then I went on to do masters, MCA, and Gaurav took a job. So he has a lot, 3 years plus experience of front end added on, and then now more 3 years. So ultimately that the corporate world, the real world experience counts a lot more than your degree. But don't go completely negative according to Gaurav. Yeah, that is pretty much
definitely. You should
maintain a balance. Take a degree, but then don't stick to just that degree.
Right.
Try to develop your skills outside your degree.
If you are planning to get a degree and you're also interested in front-end development, what I would suggest is to start front-end development. Take out 1 hour or 2 hours. If you're that interested, start learning all these things.
Right. Don't just stick to college syllabus.
Yeah, exactly. Don't wait for your college to get finished and then start learning from the basics.
Right.
That time it is definitely going to help you in your final year project also, if you're planning to build a website.
Right.
And rest of the things it helps you in the clearing the interviews and getting you a job. Yeah, simple as that.
Right. So these are pretty much all the questions, my questions, users' questions. But one last thing, I would like to conclude this entire video or session by asking one last thing. So one tip for beginners which you want to give and who want to get into front-end development. So one tip, what is that one tip?
I would like to give to all of them, not only for front end, I would say for back end also.
Right.
Just go and explore. Simple as that. Just go and explore. Go to any web page. Well, like I said, you can go and inspect and do anything.
Right.
Just check, and there are a lot of the Chrome dev tools right now. It's very advanced. It can give you the performance. It can give you audits.
Right.
It can give you a lot of things. So just learn about web APIs. Learn about HTML storage APIs, local storage, session storage, anything. You can just go inspect and explore. Also, at the same time, learn about the fundamentals. Don't miss out on the fundamentals. That is the most important tip I would like to give everyone, be it on the front end or be it on the back end.
Right.
Learn the basics. Because I have seen there are experienced people coming for the interview, and I ask them basic questions, they are not able to answer it.
Okay.
Because their thinking is like, I'll start with the higher framework or start learning the framework, I'll be able to get a good job. But that doesn't help. If you're stuck somewhere, it is definitely that fundamentals is going to help you.
Okay.
And that is going to happen, like in my experience, that is going to happen 80% of the time. Somewhere where you are stuck, it's definitely because of the fundamentals.
Okay.
So you need to have your fundamentals very clear.
Very clear. Yeah. So focus on your fundamentals, go out and explore.
Yes.
Do your thing. We have everything. A lot of things are free and open
like
source.
Everything is like right now web. Yeah. You just go and start creating stuff. That's it.
So yeah, these were all the questions, and I hope you liked the session. Let me know in the comments how this entire video session was. Do you want more of these? Do you want different technologies? And what else do you have? Any of your suggestions, you can just put them in the comments. Please share this video with any of your friends who are like wanting to get into front-end development or who's a beginner. And yeah, thank you so much, Gaurav, for coming in, and this is really great.
Thank you so much for having me. Also, I hope that I have answered all your questions.
Right.
Even if you still have a doubt, you definitely let Tanmay know. I'll help you.
Yeah, maybe we can do a part 2 and
maybe
more questions. Right?
Yes. If you still have more questions, I'm more than happy to come and have a session with you all. And definitely don't forget to like, share and subscribe.
Snippets. That is really important.
Yes, that is very important. Yeah.
So yeah, the one last thing that I want to give you, Gaurav, is our Simple Snippets branded t-shirt. So I had this in mind.
Thank you so much. I'm very glad to be a part of Simple Snippets now.
Sure.
So definitely I would love to have more sessions, and definitely I would love to hear more from you guys.
That's it for this video, guys. See you in the next one.
Yeah. Bye. Peace.